Okay, I'll watch just a little bit of it, okay? Yeah, I'll probably click through a lot of it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another
Looks
day
fine.
in the world of Vera.
Okay.
We have
He's gonna work.
an exciting update for you today. We are going to be showing off one of the most beloved archetypes in fantasy MMORPGs, the fighter archetype. And there has been a lot of work that's been done in progressing this. Obviously, the last time we showed anything remotely fighter related, it was I think almost 2 years
like
ago.
2 years ago. Against the golems.
Melee weapon revamp from Alpha 1. And there were a couple of abilities, obviously, that we showed off, but nothing like the showcase we have stored for you today. You are going to get some pretty in-depth understanding of how this archetype has been redesigned and the progression that's going to be available as part of Alpha 2. And we have joining us to talk through that today two of our absolutely stellar and
I'm going to move forward a little bit, okay?
Designers on each individual ability first, talk about what they do, and give you guys a sense of the archetype and the abilities available to us before.
Okay, they're about to get into the combat tree. Here we go.
Some freaky Goblin Town.
Let's see it.
Stuff. So, do I have a volunteer today that could?
I don't do 1.5x speed. It's annoying to listen to. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. I'll help him.
Nice. Awesome. All right. Very cool. So, which should we start with first? What do you guys think?
Start with Blitz.
Blitz? All right. Let's see. Blitz is the first
one
on
the bar.
Go.
Let's go down the bar.
All right. Let's do it. Actually, you know what? I'm sorry. Why don't we first start with momentum? That sounds like a good idea because momentum is obviously going to be referenced.
Okay, so here's the skill tree,
that, and as well as a number of other abilities.
Okay.
And momentum is essentially a class energy system. Is that right, Tread?
So it's
that
rage.
Is correct.
Talk to me about momentum.
Yeah, I'll go into a little more detail about that. So one thing that we feel adds a lot to just class identity in general is something that is beyond just an ability. In this case, it's a class, or in this case, an archetype resource called Combat Momentum. So in your top left of the screen here, you'll see that you've got your standard health bar and your mana bar, and then a third empty bar that you'll see kind of build up in combat as we play, that you build up through all the different actions that you're doing through the kit. And you can use this resource to get passive power to your character based on which form you are in, which we'll get into it in a little bit here. And you can also spend it for certain unique, especially powerful bonuses.
So, and guys, just to remind everyone, obviously, everything you're going to see here is still a work in progress. We are working towards Alpha 2, especially as it relates to the UI, as it relates to VFX, and designs will change, balances will change.
That means this is what you can expect. The game's coming out like this.
Direction, right? Direction on
this is it, guys. It's final.
Cool. What other fighter influences have you had in other MMOs that you think could be incorporated as well? That's all part of the discussion. Okay, so momentum is that class energy ability, and as you guys have seen, obviously other classes Trad is talking about has some similar kind of class energy mechanics. Momentum is definitely. It looks like.
What does it say? Generate 1 combat momentum when hitting targets. Weapon combo finishers generate more momentum plus 10, plus additional 1 per 10 the caster already has. Grants unique, increasing stat bonuses. Okay, so yeah, it's. What's a good way to explain like what that is?
Right. I mean, this is something that just passively is generating. Increased stat bonuses.
It's rage. It's not really rage. It's like the best example I could use is like from like Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. It sounds like it's the Grenoth gauge from Vasaraga. Because like the more combat, like basically you fill up a bar, and then as you fill up the bar, you can use and like you unlock different types of survivability. PoE rage. Yeah.
We'll get to in a little while how they can be applied based on some individual buffs. So now that we know what momentum is and it's going to generate that, let us talk a little bit about Blitz. What is Blitz as an ability?
Yeah, Blitz is your gap closer, your bread and butter gap closer.
Charge.
You pick a target and you charge to the target. There's also a spec option that interacts with the resource if you choose it, that generates some combat momentum, so it lets you kind of open the encounter with a little bit of resource to start.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Makes sense.
charge the target directly, and I'm gonna deal damage on arrival, which is physical based. And this spec option says that it generates 20 additional combat momentum. Now, presumably, combat momentum does not overflow after it hits the maximum 100 points. Is that correct?
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. And then I see under it there is an additional spec option that says killing an enemy with lethal blow will reset the cooldown of Blitz. So
I like that a lot. That's a good talent.
the more I kill, essentially, if I use lethal blow,
It's like Death
I
Knight
can
has
just
that.
keep
Like
that
whenever you kill
momentum
something,
up,
you have a refresh on
generating
Death Grip.
additional, combat momentum, so I can use a little bit after, potentially landing
Okay, he's
on the
about to use
target
it.
and replenish that quickly after with executing lethal blow on the target as a kill, and then raging Blitz into the next.
Yeah, it turns you into more of a aggressive mobile character if you go with that. Like you're killing enemies and then you need to pick a new target. He might be far away. You charge to him, kill him,
Sure.
rinse and repeat.
Cool. All right, let's take a look at this. Ooh, nice.
Seems good.
All right, let's take a look at this. Ooh, nice.
Yeah, that seems fine. All right, decent.
Okay, that was
Okay.
cool. And presumably this also
That's good.
scales verticality as well.
Let's test it.
And guys, for the purposes
Uh-oh.
obviously of this demonstration, I've set my cooldowns to 0 so that I can more repeatedly use... oh, here we go. We got some...
Yeah, what happens with
kill those
this?
little mushrooms, huh? I don't want to spoil the
I'll nuke him
skills.
for you.
Oh, I'm glad they're doing the loot thing where it shows underneath. Like, I really liked how in New World, whenever you looted something that was like a blue or a purple or a legendary, the sparkle changed. Yeah, that's good. I'm glad they're doing that.
This ancient violence in the background. Oh, and by the way,
It's
we
like
are
Diablo
playing
as well.
for the first time in I believe in game, the Renkai orcs. Got my trusty mohawk going on. It is probably the most appropriate race class combination.
I thought so.
Okay, so what happens
All
if
right,
you
so I'm gonna
charge
try to
this
jump.
way?
I'm gonna try to scale this thing on you. Let's see here. Oh,
Not too bad. That's not too bad. All
try to
right.
jump. I'm gonna try to scale this thing on you. Let's see here. Oh man, now
All
that
right.
is cool. That was
Mages,
awesome.
watch out. Yeah, fuck
Let me do
them.
that again.
Yeah, this is kind of an answer you get to like that archer on the ledge
Uh-huh.
that's just free shooting on you, and it's like, oh, I'm just gonna.
That
get
looks
up
pretty
there with
good.
you.
Oh, my bad there. Let me try this one more time.
Damn.
Oh, very nice.
That's
Okay, so
that's
by
nice.
default, so now, let me try this. Oh, did you just die?
I think that was a bad nuke
My bad.
from someone.
My bad.
No, that was for sure my bad.
Okay. That's a long range too? Yeah, it is.
That feels really good. By the
Holy
way.
shit,
that
man.
feels clean.
That's nice.
Very clean. Oh, there's. Did somebody also die over here?
Just a little mushroom kid.
Oh, a little mushroom. Okay. Okay, Blitz.
I mean, the loot window is good
Blitz
too.
feels
That's
really good. Well done with that. I like that. It's super smooth and fluid. It feels.
Okay.
There's not really any movement interruption
With the
either
minimap?
on
Minimap's
contact
nice.
or at the initiation, which is obviously one of the most, ideal feeling points of any mobility skill. Right? Is that fluidity throughout. Okay, let's talk about the next one. So we have Brutal Cleave.
Yep, this is probably your most bread and butter AoE attack.
All right, let's see it.
You can. It does a medium amount of damage. It's not one of your more
Do it.
spectacular AoEs, but it's your primary AoE resource generator, so you're going to be using this a lot to build your momentum. And you also weave this a lot between your weapon combos because your weapon attack finishers will reset seconds off of this cooldown. So if you're like going back and forth between cleaves and weapon attacks, you get to do more of them and have more uptime.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right.
All right,
So this
that's
Also,
does-
the more targets you hit, so that's why it's really good in AoE situations, is you get more momentum based on how many targets you're hitting.
Got it.
Yeah,
so
it says that
after
on, like, the
jumping
little
in with
tooltip.
Blitz, especially if there's multiple targets, going with a Brutal Cleave is just going to really ramp that momentum. And then it looks like also that this ability, it says shares a cooldown with Overpower. And it says also the weapon combo finisher will reduce its cooldown by 8 seconds.
Yep. So you'll be resetting Overpowers more frequently, because if we want to just jump over to that one, that's the single target counterpart to this attack. It's just a...
That's decent.
To this attack, it's just a single target hit, but it is a shorter cooldown, so you can
I don't think that one's as good. I feel like the charge so far is the best ability that looks and feels the best. Like the Overpower, how there's like a bit of a delay with the attack, kind of doesn't really feel super good. But I do feel like if you're looking for like a greatsword like combat fantasy, I think you should look at, something like Malekith in Elden Ring, or like BDO Awakened Warrior or something like that. Like those are, I think, those are the best. And like also like Dragon's Dogma 2, like the warrior class, that's also really good.
Set them more frequently, and it's also generating your resource, so it kind of, you're choosing which one to use based on what your enemies are.
Yeah, sure. You're fighting a lot,
cool.
Use one. You're fighting a little, use the other one.
That looks great, by
Sure.
the way. Scott and Siva have done an amazing job.
Yeah, I'm really happy with how the effects turned out. Like, making physical look this cool, like, it was a feat.
I think that the animation effects with the spells look a little choppy. They look kind of, it's like kind of, like almost like phone game graphics,
Oh, my bad.
Like the animations are fine, but it's like the spell effects that come out of it. There's a delay with the auto attack? No? I'm not sure yet.
Let's talk about Maim. Here, let's go over here.
Okay, what's Maim? What's this?
Talk to me a little bit about Maim.
So this is a more powerful AoE attack in the kit. Do you have a spec right now for the
let me take a look
range?
here. And by the way, Brutal Cleave, I apologize. There's no additional functionality, it looks like, on Brutal Cleave. But we did talk also about...
Overpower's on the right column. It's an auto-granted ability, so it's not going to be in this tree.
Got it.
There you go.
Okay, so it doesn't have any spec options either.
That's right.
But Maim does. And should I turn Maim off? Let me turn the spec option off first, because this actually extends the distance of the projectile by essentially launching.
I'm gonna skip ahead.
Hitting a cone in front of you. It's pretty heavy
Let's
hitter.
see it.
You're not resetting the cooldown of this, so you need to be...
That's pretty good.
more aware of when you're using this, but it also has the added effect of it will do more damage against recently tripped enemies. So that's where you really want to save this, is if
Well, that
you
makes
trip
sense, since
someone,
it's like an
or
earthquake.
if someone else has tripped an enemy, you capitalize on it by
that's nice.
basically smashing down on them with this.
That looks so good. Love it. That is awesome. Okay, so let's spec into the projectile.
So what's this?
Now this is going to give you obviously a lot more range. Oh!
That's cool. I like that.
Oh,
that is cool.
This adds
it's like what I said with Malekith. Yeah,
on top
you're right.
Of the attack, so you're still getting that frontal AOE hitbox that's staying the same, but you're adding a projectile on top of it. And the cool thing here too is the projectile gets the bonus of the damage bonus from the trip, so you could actually combo into a target that you see trip from range with this as well. One reason this is a spec option is some fighters...
I do think that like the animations themselves, like these animations seem very, like I'm talking about like the spell effects, they seem pretty cheap. Like the essence of what it is good. But, like, it clearly doesn't have, it's too flashy and mid effects. Yeah, like, the colors and everything are just not, like, super great. But like in terms of this being like an early version of it, this is amazing.
Want to be using this in a way that you don't want to pull a mob in the distance, so it's just kind of an added layer of skill if you're using this in like a really cluttered environment. But it's kind of a trade-off.
That feels really good.
That is good.
That is awesome. I'll give myself some mana.
Okay, what's the next one?
About, or you
Yeah,
want to
sure.
use
No,
it first?
you're
Okay, Battle
cool.
Cry.
So I love this as an AoE opener. What it does a few. Okay, cool. So
That's decent. I think that one's actually really good. That one, like visually, I think really looks good.
love this as an AoE opener.
I like that a lot.
What it does a few things. One, it riles your allies, specifically your party members. It will also apply a status effect called Shaken to your enemies. And then it will generate a certain amount of combat momentum per ally that you riled.
Okay.
And then just to elaborate, because people are like, what is Shaken? What is riled? Well, Shaken right now is a debuff on enemies that whenever they take damage, they have a small chance to become tripped. So there's some good combos with this where like you go into like a multi-hit AoE and you can capitalize on that. And then by triggering trip status, that flows into maim really well. So that's one of the combos I like to do is shout into like a whirlwind, which you'll see in a bit. I
would say that's kind of like that kind of works, because what he's saying is like you use a debuff and then the debuff applies to the enemy, and then if the enemy debuff procs, you use a secondary spell to take advantage of the proc. I think that's pretty good.
Maim to do extra damage.
Yeah, that's decent.
Procced that effect.
Yeah, these are feeling great. Wow, I do like the battle cry. That is like probably the most standard feeling, like, expected action on behalf of the fighter, some type of battle cry effect.
Yeah,
and
sure.
This one captures it.
That looks really good.
I love that. That's cool. Okay, we saw Whirlwind back a while ago.
Whoa, here we go.
Talk to me about what's changed about Whirlwind.
Here we go.
So Whirlwind is actually pretty close to what it's always been. It's an AoE channeled attack that ramps up in speed the longer you hold it. There's also a spec option on the right if you want to pick that gives a final upward swing at the end that has some additional bonuses to it.
That's cool.
So let's do it without the spec first. All right. Cool.
Seems good to me.
So it exits out after essentially the spin.
All right.
There. Let's see.
Yep.
Decent.
I'm out of mana. There we go. Let's try it again.
Yeah, you're also able to move during it, as you're seeing here. So
Cool.
it's pretty nice to be able to just kind of
nice.
Use this. While
Okay,
you're
what about
moving
the
through a
combo
pack
with
of
it?
mobs.
Got it. So let me spec now into the option that I could invest additional points into this particular skill if I wanted to give myself a finishing blow, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
So you get a big hit at the end.
Decent. It's not awful. Yeah, it's all right.
Also, you can stop this at any time. So you're seeing him do the full channel, but if it's like, oh, I want to, cancel out of it early, for, like, let's say...
To me, like, it was kind of choppy. It is. It's not perfect. Like, I'm looking at everything in terms of, like, I think what the philosophy is behind what the ability is. And, like, yeah, there's, like, a certain level of obvious choppiness and, like, unfinished nature of this because it's not even an alpha yet. So, yeah, I get that. But I'm talking about, like, where does it stand now in terms of, like, what their philosophy and, like, what the intent of the action is?
Say one thing I'll do from time to time is if I shaken enemies, and then this ability is kind of good at tripping enemies because it's hitting really rapidly.
Yeah.
You might see a trip and you can cancel out of it into a maim early if you want to show off that combo.
Into a maim? Yep, let's do it.
Okay.
There you go.
Oh, nice.
The fact that you could... That was extremely smooth. That actually looked really good. That's probably the best thing that I've seen so far.
Yep, let's do it.
There you go.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was
nice.
very
That's
clean.
Cool. That feels good. Let's see. That's so cool.
Damn.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I wonder like what it looks like, you know, like comboing all these abilities together
All
would
right,
look
cool.
like.
Whirlwind feels good too. All
Yeah.
right. Cataclysm is another one we saw
Cataclysm.
a while ago. What's
Uh-oh.
changed with Cataclysm?
Yeah, a lot has changed with this one. It used to be like this big like hammer that would appear over your head, and then it hit like an AoE kind of far away from you. Overall, it ended up feeling a little awkward to use.
Let's see it.
Can more radically change fundamentally what the ability is. So that whirlwind, you know, adding an additional
Here we go.
component to the ability, which is that climactic whirlwind essentially, could be considered functionally as an augment, an additional effect applied to the ability. Okay, let us showcase that new Cataclysm. Oh, that feels much better.
All right.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
cool.
This is also another way to apply Shaken to enemies as well. It and Battlecry are kind of on
Decent.
separate long.
I think that honestly, if they clean up that animation and make it look better, this is going to look awesome.
Longer cooldowns, so you might find yourself sort of going back and forth between.
Like the
these
best way I can describe my feedback for this is that this looks like something that should be 60 animation frames and it's 40.
interchangeably.
And
Just
you
to
can
keep that
change
status
the direction here mid wind up.
But this is really nice.
Nice. I like that. Obviously, the granularity in that.
Yeah, it gives you a little more agency. Like you're not just locked in place because it is a full rooted ability. You cannot move during this, but being able to turn like gives you a little bit more.
If you can turn while you're casting that, that's really cool.
You know, control over what happens as things might change mid cast.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree. I love the freedom feeling there. And that's obviously something that, you know, is a philosophy and a standard. That freedom of agency. That.
Let's see another one.
On temporary debuff on your target.
Okay, here we go.
where if they are moving, while that effect is on them, they will build up wounded
Okay.
stacks. We can talk
That
about
guy, yeah, he fucked him up.
we can talk about this as effect in a moment here.
Okay.
Can
But
we
at the
talk
end
about
of
the
it,
fact that he should have like literally 0 blood pressure remaining after rupturing that much blood? Oh
Sure.
my
Yeah.
God.
we can build in that mechanic. But also you'll notice at the end of it, he takes a big hit of damage. And the idea is that that damage will scale with how much wound they have on them. So this will have kind of some inter-synergy going on with itself, but also there will be other sources of wound that you could kind of synergize this for further for that big delayed
I think this is a very interesting concept. I hope they keep evolving this. This looks good.
hit at the end.
Wow. Okay. So the wounds are essentially these stacking debuffs that get applied, and that's gonna, you said, decrease their healing received,
Correct?
and also increases damage taken from all sources.
From physical sources.
From physical sources. Got it. Very cool.
Yep. And the more you build that up, because this is actually a stacking thing, it's not just like a single status effect. So the more you're wounding the target, the more and more debuffed their healing, incoming healing becomes.
I'm going to be really curious to actually play this and chain the abilities together, because this is really just a showcase right now. And one thing that's really going to look, it seems like it will look good, is that the animation and like the chaining from one ability to another seems like it's pretty good. I don't think, however, that like the animations are as clean as even the BDO animations. Like, and BDO came out how many years ago, right? So like there's definitely a lot of improvements that I think need to be made there. But like the nuts and bolts of this are very good.
So it's one of those things where if a fighter is like on your target
Video has clean
that
combat
you're trying
animations,
to
though?
keep alive,
Yeah.
you want to peel a fighter off that target, because the longer they get that uptime, the harder it's going to become to heal them up.
Ooh. That's decent.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay. Love Rupture. Also love an insane amount of blood that's happening.
Uh-huh.
Overpower. Talk to me about overpower. What do we got
Let's skip
here?
ahead a little bit.
It's basically what it's kind of doing is it's tying your wounds to the way that you're normally building momentum. If you want to kind of dual spec into both.
That's cool. Wow.
Okay, let's
Strong.
see it.
Okay, let's talk about this apparent crippling blow.
Yeah, sure. So crippling blow. This one's pretty simple. This is a standard single target snare. So a pretty common combo you'd use is like blitz into a crippling blow if you're like
This was not super great, but it's
getting
alright.
on top of a target
Okay.
that's trying to kite you. Like if you're charging up on a ranger who's like the last thing they want is you in their face. Like
Also, the show excluded me. I don't know why chat hates it. I think the reason why people are hating on the game is that they're worried that it's going to come out and it's going to be bad. I think that's what they're afraid of. They're worried that the game's going to come out and it's like how many MMOs have people gotten super hyped for, and then it comes out like Blue Protocol was like this, Throne and Liberty, Lost Ark, like New World. So like it finally comes out and it's garbage or shitty, and so I think that's why people are just like so like reflexively negative. And I understand why. I think even Steven and the Ashes of Creation team understand why. It's disappointing to see that, but I think also there's the component of people are so invested into their current game, and then they don't want to have another game come out that makes their current game irrelevant. I think those are some of the main reasons.
snaring them is going to force them to maybe use a gap opener because they're not able to outrun you.
Who's make retail relevant? It's so fucking dog shit.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
So crippling blow is pretty strong, actually, especially when it comes to PvP. I mean, that's a pretty significant reduction in movement speed.
Yeah, it is single target, so you do have to choose wisely who you are snaring. But it's pretty nice to be able to just lock a target down, not like hard CC, but just make it easier to stick on top of them.
I can see this. This, like, now that he's chaining the abilities together, this looks really good. Yeah, this is great.
All right, crippling blow, and then we have lethal blow.
Okay, what's this?
This is another one of my favorites. This is the execute of the kit. It's single target
Okay,
as well.
here we go.
But the lower health they are, the harder it's going to hit. So this is really like you're trying to do as much damage with your other abilities as possible, and then when you get them like within that kill threshold, you're just gonna hit them with this, hope for a crit maybe,
Okay.
and finish them off. Use it. There you go.
Oh my god.
Use it. There you go.
Oh my god.
I want to see it one more time.
Use it. There you go.
Damn, bro, that shit was fast. Bro, he just said later, bitch. That was it.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
This does have a couple spec options as well. One you kind of went over. If you kill them with that and you have the spec that resets blitz, you could immediately blitz again, even if it was off cooldown when you got the kill. But if you want to open your skill tree here, we can look at the other one.
Let's talk about it. And the
Give me a
sorry,
second. I gotta use the bathroom.
crippling blow did not have any spec options, but lethal blow does.
Yeah, so a lot of the time, I've played games where executes hit really hard, but you waste a lot of the damage, and it's like, oh, I saw a cool big number, but it didn't really do anything. It's kind of wasted. This spec option lets you make use out of that, so it turns any overkill damage into like health and mana return to you. The cat.
That's fucking insane. Holy shit.
That's awesome. And you know what I love about that? It's at least as it relates to PvP, is that you do not have granularity insight to the opponent's hit points. So you're really rolling the dice if you want to maximize efficacy on this consuming lethal blow.
Yeah, that's how I've been using it a lot.
Yes.
Like sometimes I pull it off, other times I don't.
Love it. That's super cool. I like that interaction there. Okay, let's go up here. We got blood Fusion.
What's this?
Yeah, so kind of like that lethal blow spec we were using, this is another way for the fighter to get health and mana back to itself. That's kind of one way that the fighter sustains itself, because it's in the thick of things, right? It's a primary target. You've got to be in danger to be doing a lot of what your kit does, and this is like one way the fighter can stay in the fight. And if you pop this, it's a big cooldown. But for the next 6 seconds, any damage you do will have a % returned as health and mana to you.
Okay. So somebody nuke me for like 500.
You can go ahead, Tread.
Okay, I don't want to do it all at once.
Multiple 500s, like 3 500s.
There you go.
Alright,
Okay.
and then I am going to deal some damage here to see how much I get back.
Yep, so that
I
last
am very much a fan of lifesteal mechanics. Like, I really like, for example, in like certain games where it's like if you're doing a lot of damage as a warrior, you get that health back, and it makes you want to keep fighting. Like, I love that. I think that games that have that, it just makes the combat feel way better.
hit missed the window, but you got a good chunk from your other attacks. The value of this is super variable
sustain,
based
yeah.
on when you use it. So if you pop it in the right moment, you've got a lot of targets around you. You're like popping your AoEs. Like, this is going to get a ton more value.
That's cool. I like that. So this is an insta cast that can happen in the middle of any ability activation.
Right.
Nice.
That's
you
cool.
could like start your Cataclysm and then pop that right before it lands.
Oh shit.
That's cool. That is super cool. Oh yeah, I see that.
That is nice.
Okay, very nice. And I like the
The fact that you can use that spell and use other spells like that inside of each other also feels really good. So it's not choppy at all.
effect.
Off global
Effect
execute?
looks
No,
great.
it's an off global
more
health
of that
return
blood theme.
on execute.
Yes. I also love the audio for it. It's like you're consuming it a bit. Alright, let me grab whatever this is. Oh, a bunch of stuff. I think that was on your corpse. I'm sorry, Brian. I'll do that right in front
I'm
of you.
gonna skip ahead.
Respectful.
Fucking YouTube. It's a long YouTube video.
Right?
I think this is good enough. I think this is good enough for Alpha 2. If they release this into Alpha 2, I would be happy. I would say, okay, this is good. This is workable. Yeah. This is absolutely workable. Fuck. Gameplay reminds me of Guild Wars 2? Maybe, yeah. Game of combat looks amazing? Yeah, this is good. Chatters out here want Unreal 5, but they ain't happy.
Oh, okay.
You realize this game's made in Unreal 5, right?
So it's kind of a
Yeah, they updated
Not
it like
too
2 years ago to
far
Unreal
distance
5.
there.
Yeah, it's meant to like be more of a repositioner where, you know, you're dancing around your target. You might be zipping back and forth between different enemies in melee.
Right.
Whereas you have other tools for going longer distances. You have Blitz. You have the next one that's about to come up from here. So those are going to be more of your
Leaping
long
strike.
distance.
Okay, what's this?
Mobility skills.
All right, let me try this more long distance mobility skill here. Talk to me about leap strike.
Yeah, so this is the
Okay.
most free
God, look at
mobile.
that distance.
Yeah, it's
So it's like
very
heroic
far, and
leap.
it doesn't require a target, unlike Blitz. And you're also going to basically deal damage and AoE around it. So it's just a more powerful but less frequently usable gap closer
Sure.
/ opener if you even.
So it's
decide to use
exactly
it as
like
an
Heroic
opener.
Leap.
Oh my God! I am the Juggernaut.
That's pretty cool. That is fucking badass. I do think that, again, like, the animations are not super clean, but the essence of what the animation is supposed to show, that is nice.
Oh, that was so cool. I love that.
It's a
Yeah, that's a fun
it's a
one to use.
long CD spell, so I think that it having a flashy animation is okay. The problem is whenever all of your spells and like your cooldown rotations or your rotational abilities without cooldowns are flashy. It's okay to have some
Holy
things that are flashy.
smokes.
Definitely more AoE focused.
And again, guys, I am using 0 cooldowns right now just so I can demonstrate the abilities.
Yeah.
Well, I know you're all thinking like, what? This character's just going to fly around the battlefield. That's not what's happening.
Yeah, that's nice.
Rocket.
I know.
You can actually use this too to go up on ledges. Like if you were to try and
It's like heroic
get
leap,
up
yeah.
on one of these ledges we were trying earlier,
Yeah.
You gonna
you
show
don't even
that?
need a target to use it.
Let me see.
Not currently, but there will be.
Okay, here we go.
All right, let me try to jump up on here. Oh, that
It's
was
an alpha. It's not ready yet.
Nice
too
try.
short.
Yeah,
That
it's
was
not
too
ready yet.
short. My bad. Hold on, let me try it again.
Actually, and usually I've had more success when I'm covering
Uh-huh.
gaps rather than actually like trying to go up different verticalities. But sometimes
That
yeah,
worked.
It works.
Oh,
Hey.
we did it.
Yo, that worked.
We did it, boys. It happened.
Okay, that's nice.
Very cool. All right, let's talk a little bit about. I thought I fixed time of day, but it feels like it's getting darker. I don't know. Let's talk a little bit about. Next up, these different forms that I'm seeing here.
They're like stances. Yeah. Okay, I'm reading them.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Okay.
these are probably
Basically
the
stances.
biggest contributors to your combat momentum resource. You can spend momentum, but it's a resource that's primarily meant to be built up and maintained because of the bonuses that these forms provide. So if we want to just look at one of the first ones here, we can go into a little more detail on how those work.
I'm actually going to make it a little bit. Whoops. My bad.
I'm gonna skip ahead just a little bit.
Time of day.
Generating momentum as well, especially your finishers. There you go.
Okay, 86.9 has gone to 99.2.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay.
and it's dropping.
Sure.
Very nice.
Yep.
So there's probably going to be some stances for PvP, some stances for tanking, some stances for AoE, and some stances for single target, right? I mean, it's pretty obvious. We don't need to talk about that. It's yeah, I mean, come on. We know what that is.
You got to stay in combat.
Not
to
that
keep
it's
the
bad.
resource
I'm just
going.
saying, like, we understand it and it's good. That's fine.
And that's really what the fighter's all about, is like ramping up, being in that combat momentum.
Yeah.
Hence the name. And when the fights.
Wow, it feels like
and-
that the attack speed is even increasing each individual ability speed as well.
Yep.
That's huge. That is super cool.
My concern with something that increases attack speed by a lot is that sometimes it gets so fast that it chops the animations and it looks stupid. So it's like hard to make something like that work and actually not look dumb or be dumb.
So if you were to change forms, you would lose the attack speed bonus, but immediately gain the bonus of the corresponding
Yeah, PoE
form.
late game, basically, yeah. That's good.
All right, very cool.
As I said, I think that this video, like, if they release the Alpha 2 tomorrow, and this was the combat, I would say that it's workable. I think that it is met, at least with, like, the fighter, it seems like it has met the minimum benchmark for being playable.
So if you want to shift me into maybe
Just copy Lost
form
Ark?
of celerity here.
I mean,
All right, and that is
the one ability that I wish they could have, this is the only ability, I don't know about only ability, this is probably my favorite ability in Lost Ark, is the level 2 awakened ability, where they do the gigantic sword that you have to charge up. That should be an ultimate attack. That is so fucking badass.
done should be.
There you go. Now run around. You might have to blitz him again. You probably need to get some mana and then build it up a little more. But
Oh, my bad. We get mana.
this one
Berserker,
increases
yeah,
your
yeah.
movement speed. So this lets you just move around the battlefield a lot more nimbly. So if you need to like close the gap a little bit and your gap closers are on cooldown or whatever, this is a good way of traversing the field a bit faster.
Yeah. Wow. This is pretty quick. That's a significant speed boost.
And then the third one is more of a defensive option.
This is exactly what I thought it was going to be.
More situational, but it is a disable resistance form. This is form of fluidity. And
someone says the game needs whiff punishing. I don't think that you need to punish players for missing attacks any more than the punishment is the inherent loss of damage. The problem is that a lot of games like this, you're going to have lag because people are playing at different levels of connections. And whenever you're being punished because the person that you're fighting against is lagging, that feels really bad.
While you're in it, you are much more difficult to be CC'd. So you'll be more resistant to stuns, to roots.
Lag
trips,
switch, yep.
much
Oh,
anything
good old
that
feral
falls into
druid
the
strat.
CC category.
Try to sleep me or something?
Sure, I'll give it a shot. There's a chance that I'll still hit you, but let's see. I can't actually. I'm in your party.
Oh, okay. No, it's okay. That's fine. All right. So this is basically when you want to literally be unstoppable through CC effects. Like this is going to be a 40% reduction on that. That's pretty powerful.
Yep. And again, all the numbers are kind of in tune or being tuned. We just when we're testing these out, we want them to feel impactful just to validate that they are cool things, and then we start to balance to tone that back down.
Very cool.
They're going to go through some of the talent tree stuff.
All right. Last but most certainly not least is an ability called God Mode. I mean, excuse me. What's it called? I'm sorry. Exert?
This is Exert, yes. It's
my
earlier
I know, your segue. Actually, it's a great segue.
Yep.
So speaking of balance and what will be happening, obviously, with Alpha 2 and even before Alpha 2, we'll be balancing some of this stuff. So just keep that in mind. However, segue here into God Mode, a.k.a. Exert. We have what?
So if we go over here in the skill tree to the left, Exert, this is a very high cost, very high payoff, essentially super mode that you can go into, and you're rapidly
It's
spending
Wrath of the Berserker, basically.
your momentum while you're in
From Diablo 4.
this form. It's all or nothing. You can't turn it off. Once you pop this, you will stay in this mode until your momentum is fully drained, and then you're going to have to build it all the way back up again. Meanwhile, you're getting increased attack speed. You're getting CC immunity, and whatever else it says in here.
We've got 20% increased attack and movement speed, and immunity to disabling effects while active.
So if you can kind of draw the connection, this is like you're taking the three forms, which are CC resistance, movement speed, and attack speed, and getting just all three of them in a huge burst for a small window of time. Very small window.
Yes.
Yep.
And that small window is potentially, as it states here, at least it would be about 5 seconds if you're fully charged up on momentum.
Okay.
It's essentially ticking at 20% per second. Is that right?
Yep. And again, all the numbers are super tunable.
Absolutely.
We will be tuning these numbers, but we're just kind of putting them in a place where we can play test them. And as we get more effective with these, it's like, okay, now we're seeing the ceiling of how powerful these things are. We're going to bring it back a little bit.
Let's talk about it.
Exert also resets cooldowns, basically. That's good.
Options.
Yeah, look at that.
So we've got one that resets your cooldowns based on how much momentum you had at activation. So if you use this at 50 momentum, you would take about half of your cooldowns off. But if you use it at full momentum, you would reset all your cooldowns, so you could just go straight into your rotation upon popping this. And then this one is lets it act as a CC break as well.
Oh,
so okay. I like this. That's
nice also like Diablo 4.
You get increased
and Diablo 3 as well.
Combat momentum with movement.
Well, let's see how this plays. I want to see how it works.
like super. I am a fighter. Hear me roar.
Let's do it.
Glory. Be.
Have you used it?
No, I haven't.
Gotta show it.
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, here we
Let's
go.
do this.
He's got to build up the rage, though.
I guess in order to properly do this, I should actually set my cooldowns back.
Do you have it fully spec'd?
I do. I have it fully spec'd.
Keenan, do you have condemn on your bar?
And grab it real quick.
Okay, yeah, that's a stun. We'll have Keenan condemn you, and then you'll just like break out of it after your full momentum.
Yeah, let me start generating that. Love that shield effect. Oh, and you know I gotta get off this form of fluidity. Let's go to...
Do ferocity.
Yeah, let's do ferocity.
He's got to build up the rage first.
You could probably blitz him for a head start on.
Seriously, BDO vibes, 100% for
overpower.
worse. You think so? I mean, I think that
Keep
a
an
lot
eye
of
on your
people,
mana.
like BDO combat is good, but I think BDO combat was good. I don't think people should look at like an 8-year-old MMO because like there's a lot of like stuttering with BDO combat and like jankiness with it as well. And I think that like really, I mean, we should try to look for it's still good. I'm not saying it's bad, right? But like it's not the it should not be the gold standard.
Let me know when you're ready to be stunned.
Better than this? Fair. Fair.
Okay, I'm almost up there.
Okay, here we go. He's full energy.
But before you stun me, let me start doing some abilities.
I am feeling that wound.
Okay.
Wait, just don't kill him.
No, I'm not. I'm not.
Oh,
Alright,
there's a
now you can
weakened
stun me.
All right, stun him up.
Ooh.
All right, use it. Oh, you don't have? Did you not spec it?
Oh, I thought I did. I thought I did spec it.
Okay.
Let's try it again.
Whirlwind is sick. Yeah,
check
looks
the
good.
tree. If
Yeah, let me double check.
there might be an
Didn't
issue
work.
there.
Did I spec it? Did I spec
He
it?
did.
I do have it spec.
Probably just doesn't work.
That used to work.
Let's double check. Hold on. Let's try one more time and
Yeah.
I'll click on it this time. In case there was some finger shenanigans happening. Alright, I'm ready.
I think.
Yeah, it just doesn't
I had an
work.
expression failure. Sad.
All right, well, let's use it without that. That used to work.
My bad. Guys, welcome to Bugs.
Yeah.
It is what it
okay.
is.
Okay.
Now it's balanced.
Let's show. Yeah, now it's balanced. See,
Uh-huh.
the game wouldn't even allow that level of imbalance. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let me generate this up again. We get some.
So what does it look like whenever you use it? Yeah, I'm waiting to see this. He's
Okay,
full up.
Let me give myself some mana. And now let's use Shift 2.
Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
All right, that's fine. I mean, again, like the animations aren't great, but you know, that's decent. Seems fine with me.
Oh, I
There you
love
go.
that effect. That effect looks great. Let me show the effect one more time while I'm not kind of moving around and doing stuff. Okay. And let me set my cooldowns real quick.
Let me move ahead.
And is there... Can I get myself max...
Oh, here's the talent tree. I want to see this.
There's a debug ability for it, but I would just.
Well, let's see the
that
talent
weapon
tree.
Let's talk a little bit about it.
The weapon tree.
yeah.
Look at this.
So
Holy shit.
We've been revamping the weapon tree entirely. So the first point of progression here is we wanted to give people a choice in how long their weapon combo actually is. So you've got the base weapon combo that you start with on the Greatsword, which is 3 attacks, and you can extend that out into 4 attacks if you want. In addition to that, both the 3rd hit and the 4th hit can have proc finisher attacks, and those proc finisher attacks can trigger additional effects on you,
Okay.
such as an additional heal effect, a boost of momentary attack speed.
And I'm looking
Hey.
here,
Yep.
Brian. So when I go over to the left-hand side, and it has me to kind of.
I think one component for like greatsword that I think is like super important is that greatsword should be really slow but really strong. So like if I think about like the best examples of like greatsword gameplay, and I think that you should also have like really interesting tech that can accelerate the way that you play with greatsword, but even that should still be slower than everything else. Because you think about what was like one of the main criticisms of the 2018 and 17 Berserk that at least I saw was that Guts was swinging around the Dragon Slayer greatsword like it was nothing, like a pool noodle. Whereas like in the actual like manga, you know, he drops that shit on people and they're fucking dead, right? And so I think that if you want to look at different games that do greatsword really well, I would look at, I think Dragon's Dogma 2 does a better job of translating that really slow, methodical style of greatsword versus like, Primogen, thank you for the raid, man. Thanks a lot. What's up, boys? How y'all doing? Hey, we're talking about a game. Yeah, thank you very much for the raid. I appreciate that a lot. So there is, Ashes of Creation for anybody here who is new. So, basically, Dragon's Dogma 2, Greatsword is really good. Monster Hunter World, I've never played any of the other ones. Greatsword is really good. And then let's talk about like some individual weapons. The Dragon Bone Crusher from Demon Souls. The thing is fucking massive. It's unwieldy. It's so annoying to use. But if you hit somebody with that, you hear that bonk and they're fucking down. They are done, man. It breaks anybody's poise with like one attack. And so there's that. And then there's also this Y-hander from Dark Souls 1, I think is really fucking good. I'll see if I can think of one more greatsword fantasy that works really well. I feel like those are Lost Ark. New World? No, I think the New World greatsword is too fast. Oh man, I really do. I feel like the old Arms Warrior. Yeah, maybe old Arms Warrior or like Arms Warrior from Legion or something like that. Yeah, but those are the greatsword fantasies that I like because it's very slow and methodical, and like getting the hits off feels really, really good.
Have an option, right? I'm unlocking this node and selecting down one of these
Siegfried from Soul
four
Calibur?
choices. And for those of you
Nightmare
who are
from Soul
watching
Calibur.
and perhaps
That's a good example.
don't recall the
Yeah.
use case here of these weapon skill trees, these are separate progression trees.
Yeah, that was badass.
That you unlock and advance within
Siegfried and Nightmare are the
as
same person?
you are using and
Oh, I didn't know
adventuring
that.
with a particular weapon type, right, Brian?
Yeah, I have no
Correct.
idea.
And yeah, they'll advance faster than your Archetype tree, so you'll be able to level up a couple weapons as you're going along.
Yeah, and that's a lot of fun to do, actually. I
Yeah,
hate being
and that
stuck
section
with
that you're
one
looking at now is probably the most work in progress part. I still need to revamp this passive section. It's pretty weak overall, but this version 0, you could choose between different modifications that would best fit your class. You could choose between a little bit of deflection bonus, which is avoidance, some I think crit damage, accuracy.
So each node, you're kind of choosing a different.
I think having weapon skill and like having a tree for that is really good. Like, I feel like the more customization that you can have in circumstances like this, the better. The only concern that I have with customization is whenever it becomes so hard for a new player to understand, and then the new player just goes and looks it up. And like, I think that you should have complexity that doesn't, like, it doesn't punish you for making mistakes. Like in PoE, I think, for example, I think a lot of players, how many of you guys would be more than willing to make your own build in PoE if you didn't have to worry about spamming regrets if you fuck it up? Because I think that a lot of, like, for me at least, like, there's a lot of experimentation that I would love to do in PoE, but I don't do it because the cost of experimentation is so high. And I think that's one of the things that, like old school vibe games really kind of get wrong, is that whenever you punish a player for experimentation, the player then just looks up the best way to play the game because they don't want to get punished. So, like, you actually remove gameplay by punishing people for making mistakes. PoE2? Yeah, no, I know PoE2 is solving that problem. I mean, again, like, I understand that. Or not solving, but they are massively reducing that problem.
And then get the duration.
I mean, the
That's
devs
probably
understand this. They're not
strongest
like,
for
the guys that work on
swiftness.
that game are smart. Like, they know what they're talking about.
Right. And I've
Last
already
Epoch
gone
got it
and
right.
locked
Yeah. Last
this
Epoch does a
path
great
here
job at it.
of the extended finishers.
Yeah, you could probably take some points out of the extra damage nodes.
We
and
can
then
clearly
put
see
them
what's going on.
into-
I'm going to skip ahead.
This is
Yeah,
bust.
well,
Yeah, this is just
So
great
it's
sword
like
combo bonuses.
You're building based on your expected or intended comp that you're always going to be or often going to be running. It's like, let's say your
Yes.
friend rolls a mage and it's like, I want to build.
I'd like to have like a capstone ability that like cuts your attack power in half and doubles your damage. Like, is that in my opinion again is like that's what I think is attack speed in half, cuts your attack speed. Like, that's the great sword fantasy.
Build with
It's
my
like very
friends,
slow,
so I know
methodical
they
gameplay.
are a fire mage, and that's where your burning blade example
Yeah,
comes in.
sorry.
Like, there's going to be more stuff like that, so that you're just kind of playing off each other.
That
Yeah.
segues really
More
good
winding
into
attacks?
the
Yeah,
next
I was
proc that we
confused.
have
Yeah,
here. So
so was
this
I,
is your abilities setting up your next weapon combo. So we've got 3 options here. The first is Keen Edge. So whenever this procs, your next weapon combo will have a 100% chance to crit. The next option, which if you have a bard in your party, you might not want this one, but it causes your next ability finisher to restore some mana to yourself. And then the third.
I'm not sure if every class needs mana. I don't know. I think that it only makes sense if you're multi-classing. I think you can make mana work, but having mana work with mana doesn't really make sense whenever you're casting physical damage spells. Like, I think it would make sense with Cataclysm because you're creating like this ethereal hammer. And it would make sense with maybe changing stances. Like, I don't know, it depends on like what the stance is. But other than that, there's not really a lot of need for mana. Elemental based attacks. Yeah, and so like I don't really know if mana, like whenever I see a warrior with mana, I always think to myself, this isn't really done very well. And I'm trying to think, like, are there any good instances of like warrior fantasy gameplay that incorporate mana into them? I don't really think so. Lost Ark? Elden Ring? I mean, kind of. You can, like, you know, like, empower your weapon, but, like, not really, I don't think.
Third one is, and
Dark Knight?
we're not
Yeah.
sure about where this is going to end up. It might get moved over to the tank tree or the mace tree, but it procs a bit of temp health on the next.
Let's look at
weapon
some actual
finisher. It's
combat
pretty
against
sweet tank
NPCs.
option.
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think it's significant.
Okay, here we go.
The last thing I want to highlight is the work that we've done on the animation side with the weapon combos.
Yeah.
So if you actually do your weapon combo in place here, we can see it. We can see whenever you get. So you got a stab hit there. Whenever you get stab hits on the third and the fourth hit, those are actually procs. So if you connect with the second hit of that proc hit, you'll receive the additional effects. But you actually have to connect with a monster or player to receive the effect. And I think the proc rate is at a static 25% right now. We're looking at other ways to scale that, like maybe it scales with a stat, or maybe it scales with additional nodes, but right now it's kind of low. Especially if you're unlucky like Steve.
I know, really. What's going on here?
Come on.
I'm sure we'll see it in combat.
There it is.
There it
well.
is.
Okay.
Okay.
And these guys, we're still missing some effects that are going to help drive what this. Oh my god!
Smoked.
I'm so sorry. I just was like relentless attack.
So the way Ashes of Creation works is that there's like your class and your subclass, and it's like a like an Excel spreadsheet, right? And I do hope that the warrior basically subclass, which is like probably a barbarian, gladiator, or something like that, right? I hope that the weapon swing timer and like fighter basically, which is like warrior, barbarian, something like that. I hope that the attack speed and everything for it is way slower than this. I think this is way too fast for like a two-handed greatsword fantasy.
The momentum and the bonus attack speed
What do
on
you
the
guys think?
greatsword stacking together
Oh,
smoked me.
That was good. Let's see. So
Oh,
sorry.
you're corrupted.
He's also level
yeah.
15.
Did I go corrupt?
You did.
Oh,
boy.
no.
Well, it should be fine as long as we're in a party. Speaking of which, we should form the party.
Yes. Well, yeah, let's get this going. We can talk more while we're...
Yep.
just-
Are you guys disbanded?
Yeah, we are.
This is large stores historically aren't as heavy as you would think. Yeah, you wouldn't think an 8-pound Zweihander is heavy. Go out there and swing it around for 20 minutes. 8 pounds is a lot. Yeah, it's a lot, man. And especially whenever you're holding it at the end. So you're not really holding 8 pounds. Like, for physics, you're holding like 30.
Another thing we can talk about when we're moving
That's a lot.
is we did revamp the animation a little bit. We made it work with the weight of the greatsword a little bit more, so you'll see like more precise pose holding, and it's less of a lumbering beast than it once was. We're kind of leaving that space for the mace and the axe, but it really feels like a sword now to me. It's awesome.
Yeah, if the slow combat is
Can I
for
also
the
show
mace,
off
then that's
one other
fine
thing?
too.
The environment team and the engineering team, and Keenan, I think you were part of this as well, obviously.
This looks fine. Like, obviously there's a lot of like cleaning up the game would need in order for it to look like really good and great. But this is fine. This is a good start. As somebody who's like
The ability
watched this
system and
game
the
evolve
interactable
for the last
environments.
4 years,
Something that I have
this
not
is a
seen
tremendous
happen really
improvement.
very often as part of MMO level design is destructible assets. We
Ooh.
have that in and running. I want to see if I can
All right,
destroy
let's see
these
it.
2 tents here real quick. Oh, wait, somebody else.
That's fucking amazing. That's great. That's so good.
Destroyed them.
There it is.
And they just got hit by
Wow.
the cone of cold.
I think so. Oh, that was good. That was hilarious. I'll find some other tents. I'm sorry. Hold on, let me find another one. Here we go.
Okay, what about this one here?
Don't forget to put your helmet on.
Oh, should I put my helmet on? Do I want to put the helmet on?
It's a cool looking helmet.
All right, I'll put the helmet on. Let me see. Hold
That's
on.
a cool way to solve props getting in the way.
That's true. Let me put
By the
wear
way, his armor looks good. This is good fantasy warrior armor. It's not like ridiculous, but it's also not super realistic.
helmet.
No, I meant you could just kill him.
Oh, that's pretty
If he had been wearing his helmet when you were
Here we go.
attacking him,
Oh,
That's nice.
Love it.
Oh, we need to talk to the scout first, don't we?
yeah, we should grab the quest.
Oh, is there a scout over here? That's right.
All right, let's clear.
Okay,
away.
so you guys remember at the end of our commissions live stream last month, this was Oakenbane Keep. I just kind of came up to the entrance here. I didn't want to go inside because this story arc. See if I have actually information on this story arc. Here we go. So we are part of the Ancient Violence story arc, which is an inhuman threat in the Riverlands.
Is that
so it
bad?
talks about a little bit the settlers of
Sounds
Vera
like it's bad.
have known of a constant struggle with the goblins that overran the ancestral Kalar lands. And while we know nothing about their capabilities, it is important that we now find them throwing themselves at Lionhold's paltry defenses, Lionhold being one of the introductory
Let me skip a little bit.
Oh, that guy.
That's a spinny boy? Yeah, he's fucked up.
He's just kind of flipping around over there. Ooh, this is feeling moody.
Okay.
It's feeling moody.
Not so bad. Not so
Alright, not too
bad.
bad.
Okay.
So now, of your guys' experiences in MMOs, how many of you actually mained as a fighter?
Well, that'd be me.
I think I'm the only one here. I know everyone's here has played fighter, but I love playing fighters. Like they're kind of my first choice.
You know, I'm gonna. Oh, hold on. I see that there is a
Watch out, big
spirit
pole.
nearby. Oh my god.
I already popped my blizzard too.
I don't like how you can only have one nameplate active at a time. Because, yeah, I'm sure that's probably a setting that he has turned on or off. But, yeah. Why? Because, like, if I have 4 mobs around me and one of them's low health, I want to be able to know that I can click on that mob and execute it specifically.
We got drags
Yeah,
here,
there's a
guys.
lot of ways.
Oh,
There are a
yeah,
lot of
this is
reasons
a
why.
named mob. It's a named
Yeah,
mob. We'll
and
have
also
be
just
sure
to get like
loot
a
'em
temperature
after we
check,
kill
like
'em.
do you have 5 mobs on you or 10?
Yeah, Steven needs to loot him.
Okay, here you go.
Why are you guys saying that?
Yeah, it's almost like something happened.
Yeah, we don't have any like ninja looters in this group for sure.
Now, some of you guys are seeing that the effects of that big explosion.
Yeah.
That is still effects that are being authored right now, but that is specifically a progression. Oh, that guy was pretty
Decent.
strong. That is specifically a status progression, is that right?
Which one?
The oh, I got something.
Wait. Okay, yeah, there you go.
Did I get something?
I'll go through
I
like
got
maybe a
some
few more
look
minutes
like
of combat
a-
before I skip ahead.
Let me see if I can find that. Hold on. What do we got here? A toy soldier legs.
Yeah.
Legs of an ancient toy soldier that survived well past when it ought to have, thanks to ancient magics within. Can be reassembled with other pieces. Okay, cool. So sorry, I was talking
That's
about
cool,
the
like a chain heal.
conflagrate.
That looked nice.
Yeah, so one thing you'll be noticing a lot on the mage is I'm throwing out different...
I feel like one thing this game's going to need to have is like a really good dynamic spell calling system. And like WoW has it in settings, and so does Lost Ark, and Final Fantasy does too. That way, whenever you're in combat, you can still see what's happening without having the full effect of the spell on the screen. So a good example of WoW doing this, and I think a perfect implementation of it, is whenever a warrior casts Ravager, the Ravager has like these red lines that follow it that make the Ravager look really cool, and to where like you know exactly where the Ravager is. But even if you're not the warrior and you're on the warrior's team, you can see the Ravager, but it doesn't have the red spell effects around it. So you're still aware of the spell occurring, but it's not as disruptive visually because it's not your spell. So I hope that they can do that with this game too, because I can see that becoming extremely problematic whenever you have more than 5 people around.
Of projectiles, like here's a fireball, and then after that you'll see my weapon combo is throwing out little fire projectiles. As we showed in the previous mage live stream, that is elemental empowerment and how it works. However, we've changed a little bit how that works. Now on the finisher attack of every combo,
I think also like with the nameplates, you should have like the little health bar here, and it should show things like shaken, like as little boxes. Because like WoW has that, like a lot of people use add-ons to do that, and it's because it's really useful to have that information that's available to you. And like, yeah, I think that'd be really nice to have.
get the element based on what your infused element is, and then you can use certain abilities to promote that from burning to like
Debuff
conflagrate
icons,
in
yeah.
the case that you were seeing.
Like if
God.
they're debuffed with something that's meaningful.
There's a lot.
Like basically what I'm saying is that, just so you guys understand, he actually just showed it. These would be there. That's all. Yeah, I think that'd be really useful. And at least be able to turn that on. Yeah, debuffs on nameplate, yeah.
So you'll see me
Because it might be
doing that
annoying
here.
for like casual players, but for the impairments, yeah,
And
for
that's a concept
impairments
that
and
we're
like
applying
key
to all the
debuffs.
classes.
Like not every debuff, but key
on the
debuffs.
tank, we recently moved. They used to generate courage and apply stagger on every hit. We moved that all to the combo end as well, which is really nice because that allows us to
This is decent.
normalize these effects across multiple different weapon types and really make true our promise of weapon choice.
Yeah, it's like we don't want to.
That was really good. That right there was really good. Let's look at that again.
Make true our promise of weapon choice.
Yeah, it's like we don't.
That's extremely clean. I like that a lot.
don't want to, put too much emphasis on attack speed for proc rate, and there's other ways to do that. You can normalize chance and all that stuff, but we also just thought, like, from a gameplay perspective,
Man,
it is really cool to like
feels
make
punchy.
you
It does.
have to commit to that final hit. It just kind of makes it feel a little bit more like you're working towards something rather than just getting something on every attack.
That's
Yeah.
really good.
The initial thought was that the additional flexibility was good with the tank playstyle, but having that additional thing to chase mid-rotation is turning out pretty well.
All right, we
found
got an
somebody.
NPC here.
I'm going to skip ahead because a lot of this combat is pretty repetitive and we've pretty much seen all the spells in action.
I found this dude.
I'll link you guys
Looks
the
like
video
some-
so you can
Oh,
watch
this
the rest
is,
of it yourself if you want.
All right, this flares down.
My favorite place of any tank, a corner. Wait on my pull cooldown, I'll bring him back.
All right, it's just him now. Burn him.
So now this is the
Bringing it back to
boss.
the wall.
Nice. Good pull.
Okay.
That shield is strong. Some mana back. Here we go. Wait for it.
I wonder if those wound stacks are reducing his shields, though.
Should be.
Oh, there's a trip. Can you maim him?
Maimed him.
Nice.
Come on, get him! Get him! Get that shield down!
What a clutch.
95.
Unbelievable, that
I know.
shield.
Almost like it's scripted to do that.
Nice.
Oh, sweet, he had a goblin skull.
I also think that like this, I can see this easily becoming cumbersome, is not having an AoE loot. I think you should be able to like loot in like a radius. Because like AoE farming and then having to inspect and loot every single NPC, it just takes longer and it's annoying. Like that's literally it. Yeah, that's what I think.
Very nice. Alright.
The pets? No, none of the pets that loot it for you. Oh god, no, not that.
Yeah, so I think in here is going to be the last two goblins we're trying to find.
Is this gonna happen? Yeah, what if the enemies can knock you
they are
down?
up this ramp. This way, I think.
I think in general, like, CCing the player is really annoying to have happen. It's okay whenever it
Watch out,
happens
there's both
occasionally,
left and right
but
here.
a regular
trying to
CCs
thread
where you
the
lose
needle
control of
at
your
the-
character is very annoying.
Sleeping the shaman. Focus on his pack here.
That's
Oh, you just
that was
destroyed
nice.
10.
Heck yeah!
That was nice.
Destroy the homes, they won't come back.
I'm on the shaman.
Loot pets are great in some
Freezing
games.
in.
Yeah, they're great when you don't have to buy them for real money. In, you know, some games. I don't know who would do something like that.
Alright.
Careful up here. This is like super danger area.
I'm gonna pull some of these back, I think.
Yeah, you could probably.
I'm gonna skip ahead and see if they fight a boss or something.
We wait and
Yeah.
then pull him while we're...
Okay.
Okay, they're pulled.
Leave this one that's close to us, Trad.
Yeah, I'm waiting them to round them up because they're
Oh,
all
we
coming.
also got the next
Yeah,
pack.
they're all coming. All right, sleep dropping now.
Drop that sleep.
Oh shit.
Oh,
shit.
my god.
The guy's like insta dead.
Not much use if that happens.
Two can spin at
The
this.
clutch res.
They bumped my first one, second one coming.
Okay.
That was really good.
Keep guiding, keep guiding.
Yeah, there is like a there's
up.
a jankiness and stiltedness to some of the animations in combat, but I do really think that based off of like how I've seen the game evolve, I'm confident that by the time it's fully released, that probably won't exist. Yeah, the direction looks very good. That's a great way to put it. That was nice.
Stable.
Fighting.
You got more?
Okay. Yeah, I can see this game having a lot of big AoE pulls where there's not a tank.
You did it.
I think they need to figure out a way to like make tanking more durable with like a lot of NPCs that you're fighting. The goofy ass sounds. Yeah, there are too many sound effects. I'm gonna skip ahead. Okay, so where's the boss? Did they fight a boss?
The community things you want to social media forums and whatnot in Discord.
I think it might just be like a trash area.
Incoming slags.
Oh well, yeah, let's get him first, then we can chat about that.
That is the boss? I see. So it's like a gauntlet area?
I mean, this is actually an interesting one. Is like, you know, just these areas, like, you know, the density, the respawn rates. Like, you know, this is intended for a larger group, but is this the kind of farming that you would want to see, or you know, what are your preferred, you know, grinding experiences in games from MMOs you've played?
I like getting a lot of mobs and killing them. Yeah, that's it.
Also, just like, how do you feel the fighter plays from the melee perspective? Like, you know, what are fighters that you've really liked playing in games, and how did you enjoy them more, or what do you like that more that you're seeing here that you didn't see in fighters on other games? Like, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, one building on that a bit. One thing I really like is criticism from our fans. What's missing, what doesn't look so hot.
I think it's really just the spell animations. I think the actual like the game reactions to the spell animations are fine, but the spell animations are just, I feel like they should be 60 frames and they're 30 or 40.
Experienced developers,
Mob
we can take the
animation
heat,
suit, yeah.
it's fine. You're not going to hurt our feelings, we just need to know what sucks.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the critical feedback loop is very important. I think, you know, one of the things that is super important anytime you're offering any critical feedback is to be very specific in the things that don't mesh well, or, you know, that you're looking to see improved. And a lot of that stuff validates already what we have, you know, intentions for as we move forward in development.
Game feels choppy?
But,
yeah, it does.
That validation is important, right? Because it means that you as the player are thinking about the same things that we're thinking about.
Yeah, fluidity matters a lot.
And we can prioritize that stuff. Obviously, combat being one of the biggest takeaways from Alpha 1, which you can see here, we took to heart and are iterating upon and continuing
Yeah,
to
combat in Alpha 1 wasn't great, but it was basically probably just a tech test almost.
Another good thing would be, you know, this is a half group. Like, how did the visuals look? Like, you know, the fighter effects feel and look really awesome in my opinion, especially when we're showcasing them.
Yeah,
how
the
does
choppiness.
That hold up, you know, with
That's the
mage
main weakness right now, I
in
think.
Parallel, and also the cleric and the tank. Like, a lot of that stuff, you know, how does it look? You know, when you're looking at it from a very controlled, isolated standpoint, and how does that hold up or break down when you enter all those archetypes together into the mix?
Are you ready for the final guy?
Oh, here we go.
Slags.
Did I get
Back
the,
up.
sorry, did I loot the other dude?
I
He's ready.
booted him again. So
Slashing
I spawned
animation
us a new
trailing
one.
and stuff? Yeah, yeah, sure.
Oh,
Is there no dodge roll?
Jesus.
No.
Yeah.
You saw Dragon's Dogma
Where's
looks?
the new
Dragon's Dogma is actually, in my opinion, like, for, like, combat, like, I've played it a lot now. I've put 100 hours into the game, and I've leveled almost every single vocation up to max, besides Trickster and Mage, because they're dumb. And I think they really do a great job on moment-to-moment combat and gameplay. And so you should look at a game like Dragon's Dogma and see what they do right, and then try to implement that into the game. Like big anime swords? Well, like Dragon's Dogma doesn't even really have a big anime sword. Like, it's big, like the dragon sword from the Dragon Forge, right, that you get after New Game. It's a big sword, but it's not like Monster Hunter big.
Right here.
Years of ninja looting experience, I
Oh
guess.
my
Gee.
god. This is the fighter showcase, not the rogue.
Knocking a dragon on his ass with a big
sorry.
sword. Yeah.
That was funny. Is this him? Alright.
Yes.
Let me grab-
Watch Keenan just loot it again.
Oh my god.
I know.
Monster Dragon
There
Storm
we
is
go.
pretty damn
Okay,
grounded
we
for a
have the
fantasy
Flare
RPG.
Blade
Yeah, it is.
fragment and the toy soldier torso. Yay.
That's actually why I like it a lot.
Torso now. Keenan has 2 torsos.
Like playing
I have a
Dragon's
single
Dogma
torso.
makes me feel like I'm playing Goblin Slayer the
3.
game.
Oh my god.
Alright, when
Okay.
you guys are ready, I'm gonna charge.
What do I do here?
You want me to do a sleep bowl?
Needs a lot of
Well, they're
optimization.
incoming.
Yeah,
Alright,
true.
I'm
cool.
sleeping now, so
Very
we'll
true.
see which one I get. There are 2 shamans in the back.
It would be cool if you had a
gonna
weapon
focus
throw
on
as
them.
well.
I'm up here on the platform.
So Dogma 2, his character does no damage. Yeah, I mean, a lot of this stuff probably isn't well tuned, but it's just the combat and the gameplay itself. I'm gonna skip to the end. The last couple of minutes.
Leftover currency from the ancient times.
And hopefully
Okay.
a lot of XP, right?
Yes, a significant number of experience. Delivered
Didn't
to
WoW
play.
Warrior have a weapon throw? Yeah, you have Heroic Throw as a warrior. It's pretty good. I mean, Heroic Throw is a good ability.
It
I
happened.
do think that,
We
like,
did it.
I do think it could be a lot
Holy
better.
smokes. Well, that was fun. I enjoyed that in the area.
The
Obviously,
original Heroic Throw was the best, because the original Heroic Throw that you got in, like, I think it was like Cataclysm, whenever it was, like, really good. I think Heroic Throw was actually Wrath, but, like, Cataclysm was whenever I thought it was really good, and Mists of Pandaria is whenever it was a long cooldown, and it did a lot of damage. I actually like that a lot more. Yeah, basically, Shattering Throw should be what a weapon throw is. And it should have a long cooldown, and the cooldown should reset if you interact with the hitbox that the weapon throw was targeted at. And I think also the weapon throw should be a skill shot. So if you miss it, not only do you disarm yourself or something like that, but you also can't reset the cooldown.
it looks beautiful. The class plays remarkably well. Feels very good.
Chopping and
Keenan?
snipey video encoding?
Brian?
Oh, you're probably right. Oh, at least a little bit of it should be like
and all
that.
the goblins around us that are incredibly vocal. Thank you guys. This was a lot of fun.
This was
I
great.
enjoyed this. I know the community did. Everyone out there in the community, as you guys have seen, the fighter class is getting very close to ready for Alpha 2, along with all the other archetypes that you've seen. Give us your commentary. Give us your feedback. Talk on the YouTube channel, in the Discord, on our forums. What did you enjoy about the presentation today? Oh my gosh. These guys are...
I'll give my feedback right now. We've basically seen everything. I think this is a tremendous improvement, and my feeling on the game right now is that I want to play it and I want to try it out for myself. Do I think that this is in a finished state? No, and neither do they. So we're in agreement with that. However, I think this is a tremendous improvement, and it's much better than what I had expected. And I think this is probably the most copium enabling Ashes of Creation preview that we've had in 6 months. Personally, as a Warrior player, I think this is a big copium enabling one. What do you guys think? By the time the game comes out, there'll be 50 new MMOs? Yeah, but then I can just play 51, right? I mean, that's whatever. Let me link you guys the video, and you can subscribe if you want to. There it is. Like, I think that for this looks really good. Obviously, I think that the biggest weakness that they have right now in terms of style is that, like, whenever I see something from Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, or whenever I see something from... I think this is also an issue a little bit that Dragon's Dogma 2 has, is that Dragon's Dogma 2 doesn't really have, like, a very strong aesthetic style that I feel is very captivating and, like, instantly recognizable. I feel like Final Fantasy 16 has that style, for sure. Final Fantasy 14 does as well. Generic art direction. Yeah, it's basically the art direction doesn't have enough style. I think that if you want to create a incredible fantasy art style, you have 20% realism, 80% realism, 20% fantasy. So 80% or 90% of the things that you see in the world are things that you would see in real life, and that last 10% is what makes it compelling and interesting. Like, you don't want to go full on, like, crazy levels of fantasy, because then it's like almost not believable. I think you should have elements in the game that are like that, but that shouldn't be like the game default. That's subjective. Yeah, I think it is subjective, and but this is my opinion. This is my subjective opinion. So yeah, I worry about dual wield though. It's my main combat style in all games. Well then, just wait and see what happens with that. Do you think they could be artistically unique with realistic graphics? Absolutely they can. So let me think of some games that actually do that really well. I think that Final Fantasy 16 did that really well. And let me think. That's probably my first big example. I feel like I always have to go down and look at my lists here. New World, I think, did a great job at that. Yeah, New World actually did. BDO, I don't think so. Enshrouded, a little bit, not great. Cyberpunk, yeah, Cyberpunk's a great example. Even though it's sci-fi and like not fantasy, yeah, Cyberpunk's a great fucking example. Let me think. Is there anything else? Helldivers 2, maybe a little bit, right? And it's like, again, most of the things in that game, they're real, but they're fantastical versions of what's real. So yeah, I'm very impressed by this. I think, again, this is the most copium enabling Ashes of Creation demo or like update they've done in at least 6 months. This is great. And I can't wait to play the alpha too. I'm excited for it.